Good morning. Okay, I'm not sure why. I checked my phone and I am live, but my screen at the house is not showing me anything but a frozen picture. So, don't know what's going on. I'm not the technology person. You won't start hear that for a very long time, right? So, today we're going to make quick and easy Easter cards, and you're going to see what it's like to be at the retreat. So, the two cards I'm making today are two cards that were favorites that we made at the retreat on Saturday. And what you'll see in this month's February club is we are doing the Easter basket, but we're also doing the faith collection. So there'll be 4 cards with the Easter basket, right? And then we'll also have a 3D project, but then we'll also have a few cards with the faith collection. So I always like to get the faith in there as well, right? The Easter Bunny's great and everything else, but we also like to get some faith in there too. So let's go down hands and let me show you how we make these cards that we made during the retreat. So it's very easy. Here's the ones I'm talking about, because this one's got Happy Easter, Easter's on the way, but I really like to use He is Risen. And we also made some cards using this on the inside of the cards as well too, with a stamp off and so forth on it. Just makes really nice cards. So I've actually rubber banded mine together, right? Because we have this stamp set and the dies. Maybe changed, and that's okay, right? Just my way of keeping it together. It makes it easier for me. So the first card we're going to make is this one right here. So these are 2 of the 3 cards that we made. So we're going to make this one first. And we'll get this rubber band off of me. Just cute and fun. And we're going to show you a little trick that we all figured out on Saturday as well too when we do the second one. So yes, you can leave comments and I will see if I can see them or not, because with the screen frozen, I really have to start looking at my phone instead. All right, so we're just going to take our card base, which is Pool Party. And what I wanted to also show you as well too is when we do the retreats, right? So we actually have a tutorial for each and every one of these. So I've got the colors on here. So I use Summer Splash and Basic Gray. And I got all the dimensions and everything else that we used on this as well. But I also got my example here, right? So there's always choices and easy ways to do it. So yeah, so I will tell you my screen is totally frozen on Facebook, but at least it's live, and so that's always encouraging, right? So let's go down here. So this is just very basic. We're putting this on the back of here, and you can do it with Stampin' Seal or glue. Now, so this paper is different, right? So this paper's got it's a little bit heavier, and it's got like a coating on it, but it's okay. Both sides are pretty. You're going to see that we're going to use both sides on this card. And I'm just going to put it down. Just like that. Okay, now I have had no problems with this staying or any issues. So if you thought you had an issue or you thought it was curling up or anything, you just put a block on it till the glue dries. Or if you use adhesive, it'll go right down. People were concerned about that, and there's nothing to be concerned about. Now when I put this on here, and I designed this, I put this where it extended. So part's going to be hidden, right? So we just extended it all the way to the edge right here, just like that, okay? And so the circles were already cut out for everyone. Let's take this off here. All right, so I'm just putting this up with dimensionals because that's what we have here. So it's fun, right? So, last week I didn't do the live. I just posted it out there. A quick and easy card. I'm going to make sure. Oh, let's see. I got a dozen of one of these left over from the weekend. I'm trying to find the right one. There we go. So, yes. Just going to put these on here. So these are just easy, right? So the way we tee up, how we do quick, keep it simple or step it up. That's basically what we do with a retreat, right? It's like we start off, actually we reversed it. So from feedback from everyone, we sort of reversed it. I used to always do the easier stuff first and worked our way up. And then people preferred, because it's a day, right? It's from 10 a.m. and we craft all the way to like 5 o'clock p.m. and we break for lunch and come back for bingo. So people said it would be better if we did anything that's more challenging in advance first and then work our way to the stuff that was quick and easy. So there you go. It just makes, it just made sense, right? So this, I'm actually going to use, this one here I actually use basic gray. I'm actually going to use smoky slate this time, and the reason is when I did my other ones, I used a second stamp off of basic gray to be lighter, because I wanted my bunny to be a little bit lighter. So we could either do one thing. So we could either do a stamp off, or in this particular case, we could turn around and do a lighter version of gray. So smoky slate is almost like a silvery gray. We sit there and lots of times I'll substitute it for silver, right? So if you're doing something that's heat embossed with silver and you don't happen to have your silver with you to heat emboss, then use smoky slate. And I'll show you. That's how it's going to come out. So you can see the difference between that and this right here is they're different. It's lighter, right? I just wanted, right? I wanted the bunny to be cute, but I didn't want it to be so dark. Let me move this a little bit closer to me and move the ink away. I always have visions of. So yeah, so during the retreat, right, we're all on Zoom, so we can all socialize, talk to one another as we sit there and craft together. And so today, if I had much of a shadow and it was going to be a problem for me, then I was just going to sit there and redo it. Let's see if I shifted the paper everywhere. I did. Okay, thought I had it nice and secure down. And I'm just going to color the ears a little bit with Pretty in Pink, which some of my special peeps, it's their favorite color. So guess what they got for Easter? Not Easter, Valentine's, so they can get ready for Easter. Yeah, they got these. All right, this one doesn't have the two right there. Now, if it bothered you with the size of the rabbit, when you sit there and stamp it off like that, it's okay. Then just take your scissors, right? So one of the things try to work on teaching you is don't sweat the small stuff. If it didn't come out exactly like you want it, trim it down. Nobody knows except you, unless they watch you do it, right? But that's how we learn, and I get so upset and all worked up when something doesn't come out exactly like we planned. The sun's still up out there, right? So the world didn't end. We always think the world's going to end, and it's not. Just not because of us and the way we're crafting, right? Might end for other reasons, but it won't end because of this. So don't sweat the small stuff. This is small stuff. So yes, I'm just going to come in here and trim this a little bit here too. You know, some people don't like fussy cutting. So this retreat, sometimes the retreat, depending on what we're doing, right, you might have fussy cutting. This time we only had like one item we fussy cut, which is incredible. All right, so I actually put this up on dimensionals. See, I don't mind fussy cutting. Some people don't like fussy cutting. That's okay. Somebody usually always helps those folks out. But I don't mind fussy cutting, right? So if you and I are sitting next to each other and you don't like to fussy cut, I just hand it over to me and I fussy cut it for you. That's how I am. All right, so I'm just going to put the bunny right here, and we're going to add some embellishments, right? So we're going to stamp our sentiment, which is on this piece right here. And then I will show you on the inside here, I stamped Happy Easter, and I stamped the other bunny. So we're going to stamp the other bunny on the card. Let me get that bunny. And we're also going to do Easter's on the way. Because whether you realize it or not, it's not whether you believe it or not, whether you realize it or not, Easter is actually on April the 5th. And the reason why I'm telling you that, right, because here we are with Valentine's on this Saturday. So depending where you are on making Valentine cards, I'll give you an idea where you're going to be on making Easter cards. So I actually sent out all my items on Monday from the retreat in my Valentine baskets of stuff. So yes, my special peeps get something for Valentine's. Well, everything, right? Everything that takes, that Nana sits there and can sit there and send out, I will send out. So yes, that's what Nanas do, right? Just clean that off. All right. Then we're going to stamp on the outside on our tag. We're going to do Easter's on the way. And then we're going to do the Happy Easter on the inside. Okay? So then from that, that's all we have left to do. So Easter's on the way. I do have some spare blocks here. When I was creating last night for the senior home, assisted living, and I was doing Valentine's for them, I couldn't find my blocks. That's because I still had them up here from the retreat. So yeah, I have several areas where I create, right? I am not limited to one space. Now that is dark, and that would be the second stamp off. So let's flip it over, because I didn't want it that dark. So this is Summer Splash. And I like it because it's got a little bit softer look, right? And we're going to do Happy Easter on the inside. So yeah, so it's always nice to know what those colors look like. I forgot about that. I've slept since Saturday. So if you don't realize it, you know, right, when we're doing retreat stuff, it's one of those things, you get people registered, then you're busy die cutting and prepping. We had over, gosh, I want to say we had 43 die cuts, which is a lot. A lot. In fact, I have to work on that. That's a lot. So yeah. Some things just look really nice in the die cutting, right? But that was a lot. I have to agree. All right, so I'll clean that in just a second. Let's go ahead and I'm going to color the bunnies, this bunny's ears as well too. I love doing this, right? So I like putting Easter eggs out in my yard, the plastic ones. I put them in my flower bed. And because we have Fiesta here as well too, I can leave them there until Fiesta's over. Oops, so it just works in just beautifully. All right, so we're going to put this on with dimensionals. And we're just going to tuck it. That's all we're going to do is we're going to tuck it. Yeah, so you can see the difference. Here it is with the first stamp, and here's the stamp off. Just a little bit softer look is really what I was wanting. So yes, if you're live and you were at the retreat on Saturday, you'll have to tell us all what you thought about this card. Besides that, it was one of the popular ones, especially for Easter. Now I went ahead and made my bows in advance, so I did not have to deal with it on live. And I'm going to put it on with a glue dot, and then we can trim it from there. So you can see, this is the difference between me doing live a bow and doing it in advance. Oh yeah, because I can take my time. Right, so when I'm live here, I always feel like I'm rushed for time. People have an expectation of seeing X amount of time, or their patience is right for X amount of time. So we try to do that, which then, when I'm doing live, then it puts pressure on me to get the perfect bow. So today, I didn't want the pressure, right? All right, so I'm just going to put it right here. And then I'll just trim it off. Actually, let me put it up just a little bit higher, because I can, right? Put it just a little bit higher there. I get excited. I don't know about you. We don't have any little ones anymore, but you know what? The big kids really like those cascaroni eggs. And you might know them better as confetti eggs. We call them cascaroni here, but they're also known as confetti eggs. So it doesn't matter how old people get, confetti eggs are popular in this household. You can go back and see maybe some older pictures or videos that somebody posted while we were busy either getting each other with eggs, or we were getting each other with water balloons, the ones that you hook up to the faucet and it helps it. So here we go. They're just going to do it right here. And then you put whatever sentiment you want. And there is card number one. Just a quick and easy, simple little card. using some really pretty paper. And you see the difference between the stamp cloth and the two different colors of ink, right? Just gives you just a little bit different looking bunny, okay? All right, let's go down to the next one. This one is the basket, the Easter basket. And one of the things we talked about the other day, we were doing it, was the fact of getting the different colors of cardstock through the Easter basket. So one of the suggestions is what about using a toothpick was recommended, and that's what we're going to do today. We did it at the retreat. The thing was I didn't have any regular ones. I only had the ones with the umbrella on them, you know, for the grandkids to make those pina coladas, virgin pina coladas. So what we did with this one today is I went ahead and I stripped down that, let me find an envelope here. I stripped down the toothpick. Now I went ahead and put it through here so you can see what it looks like. So it's a very long toothpick because this had an umbrella that was down here, and I just took that off. So I'm going to hold that aside for you and see what a difference it makes. And then here's just like we do for the retreat. This is a retreat packet. Somebody didn't finish theirs, so I grabbed their packet. It would be my techie. She was busy helping out with techie stuff, so I went ahead and got her stuff and thought, you know what, I'll just make this for her today. So there we go. So here you see these little strips. So there's like 7 or 8 of these come out when you die cut this all-in-one strip, right? And put the ribbon aside because we already know I did the ribbon, the bow. All right, so let's make this. All right, so this one here is originally, let me find the score line right there. Here's the score line. So we score everything for you, right? So everything's already done in that aspect. And we also die cut. So when I tell you we did a lot of die cutting, we did a lot of die cutting. So this, I'm just trying to match it up. So when this was put together, right, it started off right here. And then we just used a die from Light and Wonder. And we set it there, and we just went down there so we have a nice curvy edge. And it's going to end up like this. We're going to make a space in between, okay? So what I'm going to do, we're not going to do the basket first. We're going to at least put this together first, then we're going to do the basket. I'm going to say the basket to last. So let me show you how we're going to do this. And then we got to still stamp a bunny, too. All right? Now, when we did this on Saturday, I sort of messed up. I don't know if this is one I messed up on or not. No, this is my original of originals. Okay, so when I did this on Saturday, I'm not sure what I did off. But anyway, you just want to make sure that when you sit up there and you do this, that the dimensionals you put here is going to catch onto here, right? So it's actually like it sort of crossed over. So I'm going to go ahead and do this side first. All right, so if you're wondering, yeah, so I'm just going to do it like here. We know it's going to be like there, and I'm not going to worry about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put dimensionals right along here. And the reason I tell you to start on this side first, because for some reason I got it off on Saturday at the retreat. And it should have worked, because it worked when I did my very first one, right, that we used as the prototype and made the design to begin with. But for some reason it was off. And so what happened is we had to trim off adhesive on the back side so it didn't stick to the card, right? So I'm going to show you. I'm going to go ahead and do this side first. It'll just make it easier, and we can adjust the other. Yep, I have plenty. I kept plenty from Saturday. All right, so I'm just putting this, and the reason why I'm putting it right here is because this is going to be, the back side is going to show on the other side, and I want this to be hidden, right? And this doesn't have to, this piece of the eggs that's going to be here, that's going to be attached to this, it doesn't matter. Because this is going to show for everybody else. The main thing I want to do is I just want to make sure that I'm covering, that it goes from edge to edge, and I'm covering. So this is what we got into Saturday. So if you'll see this one piece right up here, way up here, this one right there. Okay. This one was the one that was the issue. It was just almost an issue now. And you see it wants to stick, right? And it comes off easy because of this type of paper. So I'm just going to make sure I get it edged. I want to make sure my edge is there, right? And I just want to make sure all my dimensionals are covered. It doesn't matter if it's at the very edge, just as long as it's covered and it doesn't stick to when I close it, all right? So it's not going to stick, and you can see I'm just going to line this up here like that, and this is just going to come over, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing here. I'm just going to put dimensionals along the edge here on this other side, because we know now that it's not going to show because we saw how far it went over. But it's easier to do this side first, right? Because that way it's not worried about centering up because this is hidden, right? Except for the little bit of strip that's showing between the two. So don't worry about that. So just going to do it like this here. And I put it close to the edges, right? So that when we go and put this on, it's going to be just fine. Let me get these papers off. We did joke about this too on the weekend. On Saturday. So my retreat's just one day, right? It's just Saturday. We make 18 cards in one day, literally. And you can do it this way if that makes it easier. Main thing is you just want everything squared up, right? And then we're just going to come over like this. And that's exactly how I should have done it Saturday. I get to talking, right? And visiting with people, and sometimes even forget what I did myself. All right, now we get the bone folder, create this here just so it's not popping up continuously. Okay, there we go. Flatten that out better. Okay, now we're going to work on, that was the part just to get the groundwork going, right? So now we're going to work on the basket. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I did here. Here's our basket. I'm going to put that right there. And what we're going to do is we're going to weave the colors. Now, I started out with this one on the top, so we're going to go with the pink. And I thank you, Linda T. Linda T is the one that was telling us about this, and I think it does make it easier, okay? As you can see, I can now just slide that through. This is just a toothpick. This one here happens to be one of the ones with the umbrella on it. This is my grandkids. So the next one I'm going to put down is the green, because the yellow is going to go on the reverse side. So we're weaving, right? So I'm going to put this one down here. Much easier than what we went through on Saturday. Thank you, everybody, for loving me. All right, so now I'm going to do the same thing here with the toothpick. And now I'm just going to weave it backwards. You know, the other thing I was thinking is if you didn't have a toothpick, right, I'm thinking now, I couldn't think Saturday, as we were scrambling to find a toothpick, was the other thing that I think could work, right? My daughter had a tatting needle. And I was even thinking, most probably if I had gotten one of my bigger, let me think what I call it, embroidery needles. Right? I got an embroidery machine, so I really don't do that much with embroidery needles anymore. But I could if I needed it, right? And they got a blunt end. Okay, so see, I'm going to do the same thing, but I just reverse the weave, right? Just like we were weaving a basket, or we were doing... I was trying to think of other things I weave. I've actually woven fabric, right? So whenever we weave, right, we're just going opposite. We rotate between each one. I'm just going to move it down just a little bit. Slide it in. But you can see it even using a paper like crumb cake or basic beige would go real good in here too, right? Because it would look at the paper at the... Okay, let's see how easy this was, because this one was the one, right? This main thing is getting it fed through the first time. And the paper is, I mean, we talked about it Saturday, and that is the paper is very flexible, right? So if you wanted to make a ribbon out of the paper, you could. Just like you would any kind of streamer ribbon or anything else, right? You could do the same thing with paper. But see how much easier? Oh, yeah. You guys can give me grief later. Thank you, Linda T, for the suggestion. I don't have a tatting needle. My daughter took all of her tatting needles with her. I don't tat. Her grandmother tat. Her grandmother did tatting. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing down here that I did up there with the yellow, right? So we're going to come back under this green one here. And I'm just going to reverse it. I mean, you almost think it's going to tear the paper, but I mean, the paper is definitely much more flexible than we think. And if I get a moment of time, or if I have a piece left over from something here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Right, because it's easier to show you sometimes than just explain to you. All right, so this one I'm going to do just the opposite, right? I'm just going to tug everything up just a little bit here, or this way. So it's really just showing you, right? So it really doesn't take that. Once you get something that works for you, makes it easier, then that's what it's going to do for you, is make it easier. So we're just going to feed this through. And I'm coming underneath, right? Because I'm going opposite from what I did above. Yeah, I know it's been a little while. I'm looking at this right here. Let's see if I can pull that green up a little bit more. So yeah, once you get it in, right, that's not the issue. It's just getting it in the first round. And you might think it's like, wow, I don't know if I want to do that. Well, you know what? Anything we like that's pretty, or anything we like in general, right, takes time. But this is really quick and easy, right? Just once you get the right tools to help you out. And then we'll see, we're going to do it right here. So it's like, it's different than, right, a home-cooked meal. If you want a home-cooked meal, we were talking about this the other day. It's like, you want jambalaya scratch the old-fashioned way. That's 5 hours, right? If you want fudge, right, it's going to take homemade fudge. It's going to take you time. You know what? If this takes too much time, then we'll just move on. But it shouldn't, right? I don't know. So it's always sort of funny to me because, you do live. And you can make more mistakes live than you do when you're at home doing it by yourself. Like when I did mine the first time around, I did this. It was like everything worked beautifully. It was real quick. It was no big deal. And you do live and you're like, gee, I can't even believe I made that thing to begin with. Now my Balmy Blue's not wanting to go through. There we go. Yeah, I almost feel like I need tweezers or something. Come on, Balmy Blue. You can do it. Yes, you can. Okay, there we go. It's like we're almost done, and we're in the home stretch, and I just need it to go through correctly, right? Yeah, so it's just the main thing is just not to get out of shape, right? Whatever you make, it's worth it. Now, see? Might could end that way. All right, so there we go. So all we're going to do now is I'm just going to base it out the way I want it. I'm going to trim it off. And we're going to do that on the other side here. We're just going to trim it off to the edge of the basket. We were talking about, gee, you can make baskets all year long, right? For all kinds of different things. Like Mardi Gras, make a nice Mardi Gras basket. All right, so I'm going to put this up here on dimensionals. And then we're going to do the cute little rabbit. And with the cute little rabbit, what we do is we set up there. We put our dimensionals on the outside because we're going to tuck that rabbit on the inside. And we're actually going to have its hands come over the top of the basket, which is, I think, really cute. Okay. And then from here, it's just our rabbit doing the inside of our card, and we're done. So on the Happy Easter, I actually cut out the grass. Originally, I thought I was going to do it on the tag and have the grass go around the tag, right? It just didn't work right for the way I wanted it. So I just skipped it. I thought, you know what, never mind. So we're just going to put it here. Let's get the rabbit stamped. And then we'll get our sentiment stamped. Get our rabbit on here. We'll show you how we did the rabbit. Since I got both the rabbits right here. Okay. Put this on the side so I can see this one a little bit better. And we're going to use this smoky slate again. Like I said, you could use basic gray Stampin' Off. I didn't go with black because I just didn't want black. But you could, right? So it's all a personal preference. Really and truly, it really is. And we're just going to stamp it right there. Okay, and I think I did one, yes, I did the other rabbit on the inside. So let's get that rabbit on while we got the the gray right here, basic, not gray, it's silver smoky slate. And I did that one on, yeah, the bottom. Okay. I'm going to do it over here. Make sure I get it there, yeah. Okay, and we're through with rabbits. So I'm going to shut this here, with the exception of cutting around the hands, right? So I'm going to go ahead and color in pink, the nose and the ears. You could do these with pencils, right? You could sit there, if you don't have Stampin' Blends, then just sit there and use, if you got the pencils, that'll work. Either that, or you can take the ink itself and take one of the small blocks and dab a corner into the ink, and then use a blending pen to sit there and do that, and that'll work just as well. Okay, so all I did with this is I just came around here and I cut around the paws or the hands. I call them hands. Personalizing the Easter Bunny. So this wasn't I didn't consider this fussy cutting. This was just cutting, right? So now I can fussy cut around this because I was off a little bit, but that's okay. We just cut it off and nobody knows unless they watch the video. All right, then we're going to do the same thing with this hand. So I did. I went ahead and put the basket down, right, so that it wouldn't matter. So really and truly, if you didn't want to, you didn't really have to stamp the whole bunny, because this is actually going to come behind, right? Like this right here. And we're just going to tuck the bunny just like that. Okay? So really and truly, I'm just going to use the glue. Put the hands down. And it doesn't matter. The body can be there too, because it's behind it. I definitely want some glue right there and here, and we can put some right there as well too. It's not going to matter. Doesn't matter one way or the other, right? Because we're still going to tuck the bunny in the basket with the hands over just like that. Okay, there you go. This one's going to be on the inside, and then we're going to do our Happy Easter and get on there, and we'll be finished with our second card. So these are the first two cards on Saturday in session 1. We did put this in session 1 first thing in the morning when it's 10 o'clock in the morning Central Time, so everybody's bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, had their caffeine and all. So we start off with some of the stuff that may be challenging first, right? I don't think it's challenging, but you know what? Everybody's different. So we're going to stamp Happy Easter on here, and we did this with Balmy Blue. And then that ribbon's actually Balmy Blue too. Now see right here, this is sticking up, so what'll come afterwards, I'll put a little dab of glue on there and hold it down to let it dry, and that'll be done. So I'm going to put this here. So this one was actually, I left enough room that people could trim it. They could have it any way they wanted to, right? So I want mine as small as possible because I'm going to put that grass underneath it. And I'm going to stick that aside too. Alright, so what I did is I just rounded the corners. So when I came around here, I just sort of rounded it, knowing the green grass underneath was going to be rounded. And I wasn't worried about the top being rounded. So I just came and I cut as close to the top as I could. And I did the same thing down here. I just made sure I rounded it. I just kept on going and rounding it. Just like that. And I can trim it even more if I wanted to, right? So let's get our grass. Here we go. So you see, here's the grass. And originally I was wanting to weave the grass through, but it just didn't work for me. So it became underneath. So all I did is I just put glue right down the edge here. Right? And then I stepped in and just tucked the grass behind it. Like this. And position any way you want, because the grass is going to be shorter than the tag, so I just sort of centered mine. But I just want enough of the green right there just to pop, right? And then we're just going to turn around and put the tag on with dimensionals, and then we're just going to add our bling, and we're done. How exciting is that? So see, for me, for the retreat, think of it this way. I actually made, right, I did a prototype. then I sat there and I make them right along with everybody during the retreat. We all make it together. I make sure everybody's at the same pace. Check to make sure everybody's doing okay. We can all see each other. So when I get through, I at least have 2 of everything, right? So like today, I'm making this. So now I'll have 3 of each of these that when Easter comes, I will be ready for all my special peeps and friends. Okay, yes I do. I send them to friends too. In fact, I was just looking at my notes yesterday. Somebody had sent me a note last year saying that they enjoyed getting my cards, which is always nice, right? It's always nice when people like to get your cards. So actually on this one, I used the Easter eggs. These are just cute little Easter eggs. And I didn't have to dye them or anything, right? I just get to take them and put them on. So put one up here. I stuck with my 3, right? Just putting 3 items on. 3 eggs. You could put eggs all over the place if you wanted to. That's the thing I love about Easter eggs. You can do them any way you want. I put them out in the yard and the wind moves them any way they want. The armadillo comes through and moves them any way it wants. Alright, so let's get that bow on here that I already did in advance. And we're going to put it on with glue dots. And then we're done. How fun is that? I always enjoy creating for other people. Right? Because I know I'm going to give it to them. I know who I'm going to give it to. In fact, I might even put one bugs in there for somebody, for a little special peep that isn't, well, he likes bugs and dinosaurs. So I'm just going to put this right here. Just a nice, delicate little bow, right? I love this one here. This would be good for, baby, right? If you had some babies in the family and you wanted some ribbon. But this whole thing would go great though too, right? All right, so there we go. So here's the 2 cards we made, the ones I already had. And this is what we made today. Just nice and easy. And the basket was the most challenging thing of the whole thing. But use a toothpick, right? So here we go. I actually have 2 of each now. And then for the ones from the retreat, I have 1 more. So I have 3 of each. So hope you enjoyed that, right? It's all about creating, sharing, and giving. And seeing how you can make a difference in someone else's life. So today, I'm going to be doing Valent card distribution, right, to the people at assisted living, and I put together goodie bags for them too, using those pretty gusseted bags with hearts on it. So there you go. Go out there, create, share, and give, and make a difference in someone's life, right? Make their day. And with that, I want to thank you for supporting us not only here on Facebook, but also on Instagram and YouTube. And with that, I look forward to seeing you next week when we create some more Easter cards, all right? Be blessed, have an amazing week, and see you soon. Bye.